Namaste viewers and listeners. Myself Dr. Brahmdatt Sharma, Associate Professor, Department of Kamar Bhritya, Shri Shirdi Sai Baba Ayurvedic College, Rainwal, Jaipur. Today I am going to talk about diarrhea in children, that is major cause of mortality under 5 years of age. If you like this video, please click on like and bell button and subscribe my channel for other interesting videos. First we will see the different definition according to age. Any change in number or consistency of stool in exclusively breastfeed children, that is called diarrhea. In these children, the stool frequency is 3 to 10 is common. So if any change in consistency or number, that is called diarrhea. Next is passage of 3 or more than 3 watery stool in 24 hours in children over 2 months of age, that is called diarrhea. Another important thing is stool amount. If it is more than 10 ml per kg per day in infants, or in older children it is more than 200 gram per day, it is called diarrhea. And last is recent change in consistency and character of stool and its water contents rather than its frequency is important. So frequency is not important, consistency is more important in definition of diarrhea. Next is epidemiology. 1 in 5 children die from diarrhea or diarrheal related complication every year in India. In developing countries, children experience between 3 to 6 episodes of diarrhea annually. In India, around 4 lakh children die from diarrhea and its complication every year. This is very large amount. 9.8 million child death each year, in which 2/3 of which are preventable with low cost interventions like ORS and zinc supplements. Diarrhea account around 18% of total mortality in children. Next, what are the causes of diarrhea? First one is non-infectious cause, in which first is anatomic defect, in that short bowel syndrome or villus atrophy. Next is malabsorption or food intolerance, in case of disaccharide deficiency, celiac disease, artificial sweeteners found in chocolate candies, lactose intolerance. Totally it is found 5 to 10% of infants. Reaction to medicines like antibiotics, blood pressure medicines like purgatives, antacids containing magnesium, functional bowel disorders, that is IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, after stomach surgery, removal of gallbladder, and traveler's diarrhea. This is most common. Other some causes are introduction of new food or formulas, that is time of weaning, it is normal. Change in routine like late night food, teething is common. Change in water. Infectious cause, in which inflammatory cause usually caused by bacteria that invades intestine directly or produce cytotoxins. Non-inflammatory cause through enterotoxins, production by some bacteria, villus destruction by virus, or adherence by parasites. So these are non-infectious and infectious causes. Then bacteria, Shigella, Salmonella, Vibrio cholerae, E. coli, Campylobacter jejuni, Clostridium difficile. In virus, rotavirus, this is most common in children. Vaccine is also available for this virus. Norwalk virus, Vibrio cholerae, cytomegalovirus and herpes simplex virus. Parasites like Giardia lumbia, Entamoeba histolytica, Cryptosporidium, fungi like Candida albicans. So these are common for diarrhea. Next, risk factors like inappropriate breastfeeding practices. Breastfeeding should be exclusive for 6 months at least. Unsanitary food preparations like bottle feeding, lack of immunization, malnutrition, immunodeficiency, vitamin A and zinc deficiency, poor domestic and environmental sanitation, especially unsafe water, mostly found in low socioeconomic group. Next is mechanism. We will see one by one. First is osmotic diarrhea. It occurs when poorly absorbed material retains fluid within the intestine lumen. In Ayurveda we can say amdosh. In this, stool is large, frothy, explosive and acidic in nature. It is found in use of purgatives like magnesium sulfate, lactase deficiency, glucose malabsorption. Next is secretory diarrhea. In this, decreased absorption and increased secretion. It is due to increase in cyclic adenosine monophosphate or cyclic guanosine monophosphate or calcium. So there is deformity in sodium potassium pump. It is due to cholera and enterotoxigenic E. coli. Next is exudative diarrhea. It results from the outpouring of blood protein or mucus from an inflamed or ulcerated mucosa. In case of ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, invasive infections, Whipple disease and lymphomas. And last is motility disorders. Altered intestinal motility resulting in rapid transit through the colon, found in case of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome and scleroderma. So these are basic mechanism of diarrhea, that is osmotic diarrhea, secretory diarrhea, exudative diarrhea and motility disorders. Next we will see the types of diarrhea. First one is acute watery diarrhea. It is not associated with blood or mucus. It is important. It begins acutely and lasts for less than 14 days. So duration is also important, less than 14 days. It may be associated with fever or vomiting. Causative agents are rotavirus, enterotoxic E. coli, Shigella and Vibrio cholerae. Complications are dehydration and dyselectrolytemia. Next is acute bloody diarrhea, or we can say dysentery. In this, blood and mucus is found in stool. Causative agents are Shigella, enteroinvasive E. coli, Salmonella, Campylobacter jejuni. It is generally associated with more complications like intestinal damage, renal failure and encephalopathies. Next is persistent diarrhea. Acute diarrhea of more than 2 weeks. So duration is important, more than 2 weeks. It is mostly caused by infective origin. Acute watery loss of stool or dysentery, marked weight loss are complications of persistent diarrhea. Next is chronic diarrhea. recurrent or long lasting diarrhea due to non-infective cause. So infective and non-infective, these are important in case of persistent diarrhea and chronic diarrhea. Duration more than 2 weeks or 3 attacks during 3 months. It may be due to malabsorptive disorder and underlying organic diseases. Then what are the clinical features basic found in diarrhea? First one is behavior change like irritability, restlessness, weakness, lethargy, sleepiness, delirium and stupor. Physical changes like loss of weight, poor skin turgor, dry mucous membrane, dry lips, pallor, sunken eyes, depressed fontanelles. Others, cramping and bloating pain in abdomen, nausea and urgent need of bathroom, may have fever or bloody stool. What are the consequences of diarrhea? First one is base deficit acidosis, or we can say metabolic acidosis. In this, arterial pH is less than 7.10. Deep and rapid breathing is found. Vomiting is also found. Next is potassium depletion. In this, basic features are general musculature weakness, cardiac arrhythmias, paralytic ileus. Next is malnutrition due to increased catabolism for infection, loss of appetite, impaired intestinal absorption. Main important thing is dehydration. We will see separately its management also. The acute loss of water and electrolytes from the body in stool cause dehydration. It can affect hypovolemia, decreased blood volume, or cardiovascular collapse. And last is death if not treated promptly. So in this all consequence, dehydration is important. We will see this in next presentation. We can diagnose the diarrhea through medical history and physical examination, stool culture for any bacteria, blood test for any systemic disease, fasting test for diagnosing osmotic diarrhea, sigmoidoscopy or colonoscopy, any anatomical defect or any injury, imaging test. Then management of diarrhea. First goal is prevent dehydration and rehydration of the child, and next is nutrition and anti-diarrheal drugs. First we will see the dietary management. Discontinue consumption of solid foods and dairy products for at least 24 hours. It is valuable in case of osmotic diarrhea. Nausea or vomiting, a child digestible low residue diet should be administered for 24 hours. So easily digestible diet is recommended for 24 hours in case of diarrhea. If vomiting is present and uncontrollable, with antiemetics nothing is taken by mouth. Next is dehydration management. In short, increase fluid intake, ORS, plan ABC according to no dehydration, some dehydration and dehydration. We will see it in separate presentation. Then important thing is anti-diarrheal drugs. These drugs should not be recommended in early stages because it is the natural phenomena to exhale the bacteria or virus from the body which is responsible for diarrhea. Its indications are mild to moderate acute diarrhea, Contraindication in case of bloody diarrhea, fever or systemic toxicity. Risk of worsening of the underlying condition. Discontinuation if patient whose diarrhea is worsening despite of therapy. So it should be used very carefully. We will see one by one. Antibiotics. It is recommended patient with positive stool culture, patient presented with dysentery, patient with suspected exposure to bacterial infection. Next is anti-motility agents. They inhibit the presynaptic cholinergic nerves in the submucosal or mesenteric plexus. We will see. Next is adsorbents. They coat the wall of gastrointestinal tract, bind to the causative bacteria or toxins, then elimination through the stool. So this is the basic physiology of adsorbents. Next is anti-secretory agents. By name, they inhibit the secretion of many hormones, especially GIT hormones. They reduce intestinal fluid secretions and pancreatic secretion. And last is probiotics. They are non-pathogenic microorganisms. They have positive influence on the health or physiology of the host. So these 5 methods are used for antidiarrheal drugs: antibiotics, anti-motility agents, adsorbents, anti-secretory agents and probiotics. First one is antibiotic. Antibiotic can be used according to infection. In case of cholera, tetracycline 12.5 mg per kg per dose, furazolidone 1.25 mg per kg per dose, QID for 3 days. In case of Shigella and dysentery, nalidixic acid 15 mg per kg QID, ampicillin 25 mg per kg per dose, QID for 5 days. In case of amoebiasis, metronidazole 10 mg per kg per dose. In case of giardiasis, in this the special feature is child goes to toilet after each feed. For this, metronidazole, tindazole 5 mg per kg per dose, TID for 5 days. Other antibiotics like norfloxacin 4 to 12 mg per kg per day, ciprofloxacin 10 to 30 mg per kg per day. Then basic physiology of anti-motility agents. They increase segmentation and decrease propulsive movement. The result is increased intestinal transit time. It increases absorption of water and electrolytes, so feces become more solid. They also increase tone of the internal anal sphincter. They decrease response to stimulus of full rectum. Contraindication of anti-motility agents are children below 2 years because toxicity at lower dose than adults. It is also contraindicated in obstructive jaundice. Anti-motility agents are diphenoxylate hydride, that is Lomotil, and very famous loperamide, that is Imodium. Next are adsorbents, or we can say binding agents. Very famous Caloin and Pectin. Caloin, that are hydrated magnesium aluminum silicate, often combined with pectin, that are indigestible carbohydrate, and bismuth subsalicate. Bismuth are antimicrobial and salicylate are anti-secretory. Some anti-secretory agents are Resicadotril, that is Acetorphan, and Octredotil, that is somatostatin analog. Probiotics, they consist either yeast or bacteria like Lactobacillus acidophilus. Very important thing is zinc supplements. Zinc reduces the fluid and salt loss in stool by improving mucosal permeability. They facilitate regeneration of mucosa. They improve absorption of ORS. Overall, they reduce the severity and duration of illness. It is not required in less than 2 months of child. In between 2 months to 6 months, the dose is 10 mg for 14 days, and 6 months to 5 years 20 mg for 14 days. Most important thing in last is prevention of diarrhea. By improving access to clean water and safe sanitation, promoting hygiene education like hand washing, exclusive breastfeeding till 6 months, improved weaning practices, and immunize all children below 5 years of age. So these are preventive methods of diarrhea. Thank you very much. If you like this video, please click on like and bell button and subscribe my channel for other interesting video. If you have any query regarding your child health or want any advice, so you can consult with me by ayusham.in.